everybody. My name is Angie Morenga. You're watching Just Angie, where we have amazing conversations. And my guest is absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful that she said yes, and she's here, and we're going to flow and we're going to see what it is that we have to talk about today. Thank you so much for coming, Sharon.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful that you came.
I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please look into that camera, introduce yourself to my Just Angie family, and then we can have a conversation.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Sharon K Mwangi. I am many things. I'm a digital content creator. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a podcast host. We've had Pastor Angie on our podcast, Best Kept Secrets podcast. So in case you didn't watch that episode, definitely watch it after this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Yay.
I'm really grateful that you said yes. I asked you a long time ago, so I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
And then I was following up, and so many other things were happening. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm really grateful that we're here.
Me too.
So how did the journey start into all those things, digital content creation, entrepreneurship? Because here we inspire. You can share anything you want to inspire people, motivate them, get people to, to do something with their lives as well. Because you're young. I find you're very young, and you're doing amazing things, and that's good. And almost being set apart, like being set apart from the rest. So what makes you set apart, and what can people learn from that, and what do they need to do?
Well, I started 8 years ago. I actually realized it's been 8 years. I started in my third year of uni. I started my second year, but I wasn't really serious. I had a blog. I was kind of just like playing around with the thought of it, but I wasn't being consistent. I wasn't being serious. But in my third year, I was just like, okay. I had started seeing some other bloggers come up, Kina Joy Kendi, Sylvia Njoki, Sharon Mundia. I was like, okay, so there are other people doing it, so even me, I can do it. So I just started off as a fashion blogger, because fashion is like my first love. So I started off as a fashion blogger, and then in my fourth year of uni, I got a job to write for a fashion column for the Nation newspaper. And I was like, okay, I can make money off of this. It wasn't a lot of money, but a lot of us didn't have jobs even in uni. So I did that, and then I continued to do it even after I graduated. And then at some point, people stopped reading blogs and they started watching videos. So we kind of all stopped doing blogs, and we started doing YouTube videos. I became a vlogger, I guess. And honestly, looking back, I'm just like, I don't think that was for me.
Really?
I don't think, it felt very unnatural, but it was where the industry was taking us. That's where it was going. And then we kind of all moved from YouTube and to Instagram and TikTok, and I just kind of, I've always just gone with where the industry is going and where it's developing. So I moved to Instagram and I started creating more of my content there. And then at some point I decided, actually I've always known that I wanted to have a business in fashion. I did want to go to fashion school at some point, but my parents couldn't afford it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I tried to apply for scholarships. It wasn't working out. Ended up doing my master's in something else. But I always knew I was going to work in fashion somehow, some way. So I started my clothing brand in 2021 after 3 unsuccessful tries.
Really? What do you mean by successful tries? Because you're doing it online.
Yes. So I had a couple of tries. I remember one of the tries is I had imported things and I brought them in, and I just sold them like on my Instagram story. But I didn't have structure. All I knew is that I wanted to sell clothes. That's what I knew, but I didn't have a structure. I didn't have a business plan. I was just like, I just want to try. I think the third attempt was now the actual attempt that has got the business to where it got. My first try, my mom gave me, I think you've heard me say this story. My mom gave me some money to go and invest. I didn't really do it. I just...
You went and bought the clothes to come and sell?
No. I ate the money.
You ate the money? I think I heard you say. You ate the money, Sharon.
I ate the money.
Huh?
Sorry, ma'am.
Are you an only child? No,
Not.
you have a brother.
I'm actually a firstborn.
You're the firstborn.
So it was not giving responsible firstborn by doing
Vibes.
that.
But I guess
But
maybe some people have written the money here as well, but you have to try it again.
yeah, so I tried again. Now
Okay.
this time I actually used my own money. I brought in the clothes and they were all sold, but there was no structure. There was nothing.
When you say that, what happens? Like, what kind of structure now did you have to build into your third try, or
So
the
in my
actually existing business now?
Yeah. So in my third try, I decided to first collaborate with another brand that was already in the market. So I collaborated with Zia Africa,
Yes, I know
who
Zia.
I love,
Yeah,
and
love her as
we
well.
created a collection together. And because we were able to do that, I was able to see where to source fabrics, we were kind of learning together, because this was also her first Made in Kenya collection.
Yeah.
So we looked for tailors together. We kind of did everything together. And because of that, I got like the skills and the knowledge that I needed to now branch out and go and start my own thing.
Okay.
So those were the structures that I needed, the information, the knowledge that I needed. And I'm actually really grateful to her
for that
experience that she shared with me.
That's good.
So,
thank you, Zia.
Thank you, Zia. Yeah, so that's how I started the fashion brand. The podcast happened.
Wait, so the fashion brand is consistent now until
It's
today?
still there.
So do you bring signature pieces? Do you create pieces? I won't find your clothes with everyone. What do you think has made it work? Because it's worked.
So
from what I hear.
We are fully made in Kenya, meaning all of our all of our fabrics are sourced locally.
Good.
All of our tailors are local. Everything is fully made in Kenya.
Very good.
So we've been doing that for 3 years, and Made in Kenya has its own struggles. I'm not going to lie. I think the people who are importing have a better advantage over us because the costs are lower. Now that the dollar is down, they're not struggling as much. And
the excellence, do you think the excellence, the finishing, or what kind of
so
unique
now
challenges?
That's the problem with importing, is that you don't have control over
the finishing.
Yeah, over the quality of the fabrics, over all of that. At least when you make it from scratch, you can, you have control over the quality, over everything. So there are pros and cons to all of them, to each of them. So that's what we've been doing. I don't, actually, that's an interesting question to ask about what sets us apart. I can honestly say it's just the favor of God, to be quite honest, because we have had instances where we've sold out a collection in a day. Wow. And we didn't anticipate any of those things, or we sell like one piece that's really popular, it sells out in like 3 hours. And we're like,
amazing.
Honestly, I would honestly really say it's just the favor of God, because and I don't know, it's just is. But it's not always like that. There's ups and downs in entrepreneurship. Sometimes I feel like ripping my hair out of my scalp.
Lots of entrepreneurs say that. They say it's not easy.
It's not easy at all. But when it's great, it's really great. But I can say I have really involved God with every single detail. Sharon. Like when I go fabric shopping, I'm like, God, show me which one I should take. Show me which shop I should go to. Amazing. Yeah, because I'm just like, I don't want to bahatisha, you know what I mean? Like I just want to know which one, what to do, and how to navigate.
So this has been a walking with God process.
It's just been a walk with God. And I love that,
because I pray for the most things that people you can't pray about that. But I do. Even when people come and they say, oh, we're going shopping for business and all that, I'll pray for favor. Make sure they get favor. They meet the right people. They get the right product. And then also when you pray, I also pray for people when they have like a shop and something like that. There's somebody who's looking for what you have. And we just need those two people to connect. Because sometimes you can be frustrated. I have a product here that is not moving, but people want it, but it's just that I'm not connecting to the right audience. So I'm really resonating with you being able to pray and say, which fabric should I use? Even what design should we do? What should we do with this? And then it sells. That's really, really amazing.
Yeah, I think I was having a conversation with Thimba. You know Thimba?
Yes.
And we were saying we don't know how other entrepreneurs do entrepreneurship without God, because
we don't have to do life
hard.
Without God.
It's so hard.
That's what we've been saying. How people do life without God is crazy.
It's so hard.
It really is.
So it's just honestly just been a walk.
And even coming to that, and if you want to talk about how did you get into your God moment? Because you see, everybody has No, even me, no God moment. Then God came. Then we moved in with Him. So sometimes I find you young still, but that you found this God. Maybe you can share just what you want to share. You don't have to share a lot, but how come the God moment? Because even on your podcast, you said something. Do your mom watch your podcast? You revealed some things which she was like, "Wa la la la, mom is gonna watch this and find this out for the first time."
No, she watches.
I was like praying for her.
Yeah, she watches every single episode.
That is so good. That's great support, isn't it?
She's very supportive. My God moment happened in 2018. So I've been born again since 2018.
Okay.
I grew up in a home where we went to church and I sang in the kids choir and I did Sunday school and I did all of that. And then at some point, like a lot of people, when you get to high school, you get to uni, you're like, I'm not sure I really wanna do this God thing anymore. So I kind of just like fell off of it. I didn't really care much for it until life started beating me. Like, it was raining.
Life was beating you.
Life was beating me.
We're so sorry for the life beat, but we are happy it got you to the God thing. That is the direction.
Yes. And I really hope that not everyone encounters God when life has beaten them.
You don't have to wait for life to be beaten. You can just move to the right side of the road and just flow with Him.
Just flow with Him, because I feel like a lot of people usually wait until it's really bad, and then that's when they cry out for God. And when it's really bad, it's really painful. So if you can try now before you get there, avoid the unnecessary pain. So I was in a season of very dark depression when I was in I think my last semester of uni, and I barely left my little cow.
And you're still doing this writing job. So there's favor even coming in here.
Yeah. Imagine, I still have the favor, I still have the job, so I'm like as depressed could be.
And you even you don't even know why you're depressed, or you know why you're depressed.
I did have, like, I had gone through some things, and I could tell those things were the ones that were pushing me into the darkness and into the depression. So I didn't leave my house for the entire semester. I would only go for one psychology class that I enjoyed, and then I would submit my job like online, because they didn't require me to be at the office. I got the worst GPA I've ever gotten in my entire life. I just sat in the dark, like getting out of bed and opening the curtains and whatever was just hard. Showering was hard, eating was hard, everything was hard. Luckily, I finished that semester and I got a 9-to-5 job. Again, straight out of just favor, straight out of uni. I had never applied. I didn't apply for it. They called me. Someone that I knew called me to say, this and this place is hiring. I think you'd be good for it.
Wow.
Send me your CV. I didn't have a CV. I was in uni. I was in my fourth year of uni. I was doing my last semester. So I remember I even had to start the job while I was still doing my last exams for now to finish school. So luckily it got me out of the house, and it forced me to now like go to work, because now I have a job.
To get ready.
Now I have to leave. I have to be there at 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and all of that. But even in that job, I really struggled mentally. I was also going through a breakup at the same time. And there are days I used to wake up and I'm like, why am I still alive? You know what I mean? I'm like, why am I still here, God? Because I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I had conversations with God and I was just like, why do I have to see another day? And it got to a point where I used to just go and cry in the washroom during work, and then I wipe my tears and I go back to my desk, and no one knows except like my friend from work. So one day I went home after work, in the midst of the breakup, in the midst of hating that job because it wasn't a great job, in the midst of the chaos of my mind because there were so many things that had been piling up over the years. And I just knelt down in the bedroom of my bedroom in my parents' house, and I cried, like, you know, those painful cries that you have been holding in for years. And I was just like, God, if you're really, like, if you exist, I need you to help me right now. I don't want to cry.
Oh, Sharon.
I was just like, I need you to help me
right now.
I need you to take away this, like, because
pain.
Yeah.
It's like a heaviness.
It's like a heaviness. I had so much heaviness. And on that floor of my parents' bedroom, I wonder how they didn't even hear me crying.
They didn't hear you?
Yeah, it was at like 11 p.m. Everyone had gone to sleep. On the floor of my parents' bedroom, I literally felt a hug. I can't explain it, but I felt someone hug me, and I got off of the floor and I literally felt lighter. I was like, okay.
So the heaviness left.
It left. I felt lighter. I stood up and I was like, wow. It's okay. I came prepared because
sorry. Oh, you knew you were going to cry. Didn't know.
Yeah, like if I
lashes.
Anytime I talk about this story, for sure, like I just cry. But I
felt the heaviness go.
I felt the heaviness go, and I was like, wow, God, you actually exist. You actually are real. I can't say that as a child I had ever encountered him or I ever knew him, but that was the first encounter where I was like, wow, God is real and he's taken this heaviness away from me. And yeah, so I just stood up, I went to sleep, and the next day I woke up with like a new lease of life. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I want to do my master's, I want to do this. I told my parents, they were like, what do you mean you want to do your master's? And I was like, yeah, I want to do my master's in psychology. I'm quitting my job, I don't want to do it anymore. And my parents were like, okay, how can we support you? And they paid for my fees and they moved me out because I needed to be closer to school. And I kind of now started my journey with God then. And it's been how many years now? 2018 to 2024, 6 years.
6 years.
It's been 6 years, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of just me being a child where, I run away sometimes.
We all do.
Yeah, so I'm just like, God, you not right now.
Yeah,
watch out
where
I go. Yeah, I'm just like, where watch out kidogo. I just go and live my life, and then obviously life beats me and I come back and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did.
But I think those experiences are necessary.
They are necessary.
It can't just be a smooth process.
It's not been smooth
at all. It can't be, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a learning process, it's a growing process, it's finding yourself process. So in all that, it can't be just perfect and just one smooth line. There has to be ups and downs.
There were a lot of ups and downs, and I think I'm also a stubborn child. So God has really had to work on me and just really mold me. And I'm also very like, okay, God, I hear you, but I'm gonna do me, and then we'll see. And then I come back, I'm like, okay, shouldn't have done that.
Let's see. But I think also for me, why those things work, which I love, is it's important because then you know not how to do it, and it's not theory. It's something you've done.
Yeah.
And I think that also having that salvation connection means also he won't let you go too far. Like there's only as far that you can go. You can't push it. He's not going to let you get here and tip over. So he'll keep drawing you back. But I think those learning those experiences are good. And then for you, because you're a celeb, I consider you a celeb. You're an influencer, and you have many people watching you. Then they learn.
Yeah.
But if you have to experience it so that they can then learn it, and then also that when you go through ups and downs with this journey of God, that you don't give up, you don't get back into it's all or nothing. There's God has got grace, and he extends a lot of grace. He extends a lot of grace, and I think also in this country I find that we are very judgmental about salvation,
the journey,
and I just find it very strange.
I don't like them either, and I've definitely felt like an imposter because of them.
But don't feel like that.
In the past, not now, but in the past I would feel like
you're not leveling up.
I'm not leveling up. I'm not like the rest of you Christians. So how can I actually sit here and say I'm a Christian, because I'm not taking the do's and the don'ts and all of that. So I don't know how, but I guess it's just also the grace of God. Somehow I just allowed God to just, work on me with his pace, with his timing, with however he wanted it to be. And I didn't let the pressure of feeling like an imposter get to me to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't even want to be a Christian anymore, because you can't have,
Yeah.
I've had conversations with God where I'm like, God, I love you, but I don't love your people. Like, I'm not a fan of Christians whatsoever. And those are things we've had to work on together, because I have felt very judged. I have felt very, I don't fit in your nice, pretty little box. So
for me, my calling, I remember, was he said to me, go get me out of the box. When you said, I've just remembered.
Yeah.
He said, go get me out of the box, because they put me in this box, and in this box, we don't even have room to move. Like, no, move the box, because even church without walls, all those, no. I hate the box. It drives me bananas. And sometimes I think, I keep saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't be saying these things, but sometimes I think I want to push the envelope. Like, how far can you? Like, no, God loves us. He loves us as individuals. And there are things that we need to be able to do. And then the other thing is we sit in these judgmental positions, but probably if the people are even more wicked than everybody else thinks, or you're doing things in hiding. I'm like, this is too much. Or you're trying to put on a certain persona. So I think it's just too much work. Like, I just want to be me. I just want to be authentically me. Can I be that? And know that I love God. And I don't love God because I do 1, 2, 3. I love God and he loves me, and that's it. And then we're on this journey where we are talking to each other, where we are growing, where we are encouraging each other, where sometimes I fail, but then I get up again. But that's happening to everyone. But we pretend, and then we also put leaders on a pedestal, which I don't like at all. Wow. So that was your journey.
That was my journey. That's how my God moment happened.
And then I was asking you earlier about the podcast, because remember when we were doing our podcast, people were saying that you become too spiritual. How did you handle it? Are you still doing it? Oh, but you said you're on a break though.
I'm
but
on a
do you
break,
remember? They were like, this is too spiritual. First you're like, isn't it my podcast? Isn't it Sharon's podcast? How are you coming here to say it has become too spiritual? Sometimes I feel people don't want to be challenged, but I don't know what your thoughts were. But did you continue? How long did you continue this thing? And did you stop then?
No, I didn't stop. Honestly, I never wanted to have a podcast.
Oh.
I didn't want to have a podcast.
Really?
I was happy just creating content on Instagram and all of that.
And
I even
YouTube
remember
vlogging.
and the vlogging. I was happy to do all of that.
Okay.
So a few years ago, someone asked me, I think in 2021, like, oh, Sharon, would you consider having a podcast? I was like, ew, no. Why would I do that? And she was like, oh, you see, everyone is starting one. Maybe there's an opportunity there. And I was like, no, could never be me. And then the next year, I started feeling like God has placed it in my heart to have a podcast. And we really went back and forth. And I was like, God, like, I don't want to put myself out there like that. I don't want to do any of these things. And then finally, as much as I put up a fight, as there's a part of me that's just like, okay, there's a part of me that's like, obedience matters more. It doesn't matter how you get to the obedience as long as you obey eventually. So I did obey eventually, and I started the podcast. And even when I decided last season to have more spiritual conversations, even when we would get those comments, I'm just like, this thing came from God. So I can't put a muzzle on him and say, no, God, you gave me, but let me go and do my thing.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, so we were kind of on the fence about it. We'd kind of like throw God in there in the past
seasons.
And then last season I was just like, yeah, let's go full on. Let's fully on, like, do it. And for me, I was just like, I'm not going to be super concerned about the views and all of those things, because the previous seasons were really popular because we were appealing to a lot more people.
A larger audience.
Yes, so now when you kind of need to a certain spiritual, some people drop off and they don't have interest and they don't want to know anymore. They don't want to listen, or they don't want to watch anymore. So it got to a point where I was just like, okay, I'm not really concerned about the views and all of that. I'm more concerned about impact. That was my word going into that season. Last season, I was like, I want impact. I want, even when we prayed, when you were there, we every time we'd shoot, we'd pray at least one person. Just one person leaves the episode feeling like, okay, maybe I need to rethink some things. Maybe I need to give God a chance. Maybe I need to change my attitude on this thing. That's just how that season went.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You've grown a lot. That's a lot. In the 2018 to now is like 6 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of growth. That's a lot of things that have gone on.
Yeah.
The one thing I'd say is starting the podcast, but then also understanding, like, he's the one who gave it to you.
Yeah.
So he has to give it the direction.
Exactly.
And that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Wow. 6 years. It sounds like 15. And this is 6 years.
No, it's just 6 years.
Wow.
Imagine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and then you also told me take breaks, which is good for your mental health.
I do.
So you record a number of episodes and then
I
take a break.
Also, just so that I figure out what I want the next season to be like. I need to also hear from God and see what he wants us to do and the conversations we should be having. Then in that time, also, it's just a time for me to decompress, because when I'm actively shooting, I'm researching, I'm doing all of these things, I'm having conversations all the time. So I take some time to decompress. Then I'm like, okay, God, what do you want to do next? What should we talk about? Who should we have? He gives me like the blueprint, call this person, ask this person to come, talk about this, and that's how we do it.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
So I want you to do things. What's next for you, whatever you want to share, and then I want you to look into that camera and just encourage somebody.
What's next for me? Honestly, I have no idea.
Which is okay also not to have an idea.
I feel like I'm in a season where I'm just letting God lead me. And maybe if you asked me in the beginning of the year, what's your 5-year plan? What's your plan for this year? I would have told you things. I'm now at a point where I've let everything go.
Okay.
I left it to God. I'm like, okay, God, you tell me what you want to do. So I don't know what's next for me. I feel like I'm also in a season where I've become undone.
Oh, that's so powerful. Oh, there you go again. Don't worry. Undone. Such a powerful word.
I know.
Because undone is like putting everything apart and then see how he's going to bring it all back together.
Please cut this part where I'm crying.
We're not going to cut any parts where you're crying, Sharon. There's nothing like that. Vulnerability is here. No way.
Yeah, so...
Wow, so undone is such a big word.
Yeah, I feel like I'm becoming undone. So that's why I'm saying I'm just letting God lead me. And there are things that I thought, this is how my life is going to go. This is what I'm going to do. And God is showing me, no, that's not where we're going. That's not what we're doing. So I can't say what's next for me. But I'm trusting that God will, when it's time, he will guide me and he will reveal it to me. And
in those next steps.
But
one thing I can say is that for the life that you've lived, especially the last 6 years, not that the beginning also was important because it's foundational, but I think you're being prepared for something. And also we can partially say what it is because you're already an influencer on social media.
Yeah.
So, okay, even if it's not social media, you're influencing lives.
Yeah.
That means even for the painful things that you've been through, it's because there are people who are behind. There are people who are behind. There are people who are watching. There are people who need to make that crossover. There are people who need to make that divide. So that's why. That's why it's a bit harder than for everybody else. Because you're influencing lives and transforming lives. Like I know already with your podcast, there's so many people who have watched your podcast and their lives have changed. Even if they never tell you. You always say it's for one person, but even if they never tell you, people's lives have changed. Even if, and I like what you said, like maybe you think and you say, maybe I can change this. Maybe I'm changing one thing. Maybe I'm changing two things. Maybe I'm like, okay, I'll be encouraged by this. But every person that has sat on your podcast, and even now, like even that next. So I think anyway, even that next is because you're going to influence people. And to influence people, sometimes it's a bit rough. The learning process is not nice, but it will get to a place where it levels out. It really will. Or I don't know whether it levels out or we become stronger.
Probably your character is developed.
And so you're stronger, and then you also are sure of the outcomes. As you grow older and grow in this, you begin to understand that the outcome is going to be a positive one. Even if it doesn't look like right now, it's going to be a positive outcome. Even if it feels like everything is falling apart. I love that undone thing. Hey, you have to, I don't know, wait. Undone is the word, but that's good. And then we let him piece us back together.
Exactly.
Which is what he will do.
Exactly. So that's where I am. I really told God I don't want to come here and cry. Then I came here and cried.
Crying is a good thing. Crying is good. So somebody then needs to know they need to cry, and they need to. And I think it's good. It's always a release, which is so amazing.
Yeah. So.
And your parting shot, apart from Undone, Undone is the thing. I think you have to do a book, a blog, a what? I just Undone. Go do some research on Undone, please, because that's so. It has such power.
Yeah.
Because the problem is we're always trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
So how to get to the place where you say release. Or even when you get to the place where you say I'm done. Like, I've tried, I'm like, okay, I've tried everything else. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Let me go. So there's so many ways that can come out, but I love it. Any parting shot, my dear? And thank you so much for coming, Sharon. On a serious note, no, you are a somebody in this world. So it's not that you just had to come. So I don't take it for granted that you came. I'm really grateful that you came.
Of course. Yeah. I would not come for sure. And actually, when you prayed for me, when we shot our episode, and you gave me a word about finding myself, I went home that day and I was, you said finding yourself. I was like, God, finding myself, have I not found myself? What more is there to find? I was even asking my friends, she said finding what do you think that means? No. Now I see it. Now I see what finding myself was about. So I'm grateful as well.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
So
me, I'm grateful for Undone. Me, I'm doing some research. I am going deep dive into being
I
Undone.
will actually do something.
I think
about
you should.
It. Yeah,
I think you should.
I will.
It's powerful.
So my parting shot, I really don't know. I think I would just say, just give God a chance.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are not, they have their own reservations. They have their own, the way they think they want their life to go, and God doesn't fit into it, or He doesn't fit into what society deems as fun, or it just doesn't look like living a life with God is worthwhile. But I can promise you that it is. So just give God a chance, and your life will never be the same. Just give Him a chance. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. I have to get down and hug you on camera because you have really blessed me, Sharon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
May God bless you greatly.
Amen.
And may He do great and mighty things through you.
Amen.
Because I know He will. Thank you. Keep influencing.
Thank you.
Amen.